Hello everybody, this is Dr. Novak again. The tank you are looking at is for Mark Middall, and Mark sent me pictures of his aquarium, but he sent me a very simple email with his pictures, and basically it had 3 words on the email. It says, "Where's the algae?" That's it, 3 words, 3 simple words. I think those 3 simple words is what everybody in this hobby wants to say, and only say, "Where's the algae?" And in this video, I'm going to show you photographs that he had sent me, and we'll talk about a little bit about Mark's aquarium. That's coming up next. Look at this. Is this absolutely gorgeous or not? I think that everybody who is out there who's ever owned an aquarium looks at an aquarium like this and says, "Damn, that looks nice. That is what I want. That is what I want to achieve. I don't want a bunch of algae. I don't want a lot of problems." And on my channel, I've been showing you exactly the right way to do it and have such aquarium by using BCB baskets or bags or plenums. And this is just absolutely gorgeous. Look at the red in the lotus. I see he has banana plants in there, Amazon swords. He's got some Anubias in his aquarium. A lot of photos I get of people, they just don't have tanks with fish in it, but a lot of them have tanks with a plant life. And I think that's what we are all trying to achieve. The 20-gallon tank, the 40-gallon breeder, the 90-gallon aquarium, they're all doing great. And as I've tried to show you, even with 15 hours of light on in the goldfish aquarium, the 40-gallon breeder, no algae, a little bit of algae, on the very top, but with the snails eating everything, algae is the least of my problems with that aquarium. In fact, I'm just going to be honest with you. The 90-gallon tank is going on a year old, and it's boring. And I hate to say that, but this is where I guess we wind up with that. You look forward to almost cleaning the canister filter. You can't wait till the canister filter finally clogs up so you can clean it because you want something to do. Changing water is a treat because I really don't touch the substrates of these aquariums. I haven't touched the substrate, not once, in almost a year. With the 90-gallon, I haven't touched it with the goldfish. I may go in there and straighten up the substrate because I'll move it around by, digging for food. But other than that, I don't touch the substrate to the 20-gallon or the 40-gallon breeder. And because the 40-gallon breeder is using a plenum with sand, and I set it up purposely for everyone to see that. So I just want everybody that's here to understand that you don't really have to do a lot of work once you are using like a slow-moving plenum. If it's set up correctly, it's going to last a long, long time. And as you've seen from one of my videos with the Florida aquarium there, how that if you don't use a plenum, you are going to have to go in there and stir your substrate up, especially if the matrix is tighter and tighter with different substrates that you're using. For example, sand and dirt is going to be a lot tighter of a matrix than, let's say, a gravel that's at least a millimeter or 2 millimeters or 3 millimeters in size. Okay, even the kitty litter is going to be a tighter matrix than just a lot of your gravels that you can buy will be. Therefore, oxygen has a very hard time, and fluids have a harder time of moving freely through the substrate, especially when you make substrates that are over a half inch deep using finer materials, okay? You're going to have to do something to make sure oxygen gets down in there so it doesn't cause and become a food source for things that you don't want it to become a food source for, such as algae. Anyway, with that said, all of us are watching videos where people are taking and just throwing their substrate at the bottom of the aquarium. This never seems to change, and as I'm seeing, and I'm sure you're seeing the same thing, a lot of these YouTube channels are uniting together. They're becoming actually one channel and one source of information. It's almost like you're watching different channels, but they're all giving you the same source of information because they're all uniting under one umbrella. So you're not getting really different ideas because they are all sticking to the same program. You know, it's kind of like if you're watching the news and you're watching CNN, MSNBC, CBS, you're basically getting the same news off of all those channels. If you don't veer away from those channels and watch something else, you're never going to get a different point of view of the news, and you are going to be shoehorned into only seeing what they're allowing you to see and hear, and you're not going to get what everybody else may be talking about in the news. The same thing's basically, happening with this hobby. These people are uniting, I see, and as they unite, you are basically getting one viewpoint of information, and it's not changing. And is this a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's a bad thing because we should be getting viewpoints of other people. Whether we'd like to say, as everybody has said, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. And this is exactly what's happening in this hobby, that people think that their facts without verification is the true facts, because we always come up with the person who says, well, I've done this and I was very successful. Well, you're always going to come up with an exception to a rule. Okay, we all know that. But as hobbyists, we must try to think out of the box. We must realize that this is the 21st century. We must realize that science, microbiology has moved on. We understand how things work a little better than we did 40, 50, 60 years ago, even 70, 80 years ago. We understand the science a little bit better, and we should grasp the science and realize it exists. Like, for example, I'm going to give you a very good example. When I had the 90-gallon and I just cleaned the canister filter in November, and I ran the canister filter in the weir, which means it was pumping in the weir, but it wasn't really pumping and circulating in the aquarium itself, okay? So understand the weir, let's say 2.5, 3 gallons of water. It was only circulating that 3 gallons of water. Almost like if you put the canister filter and you put it in a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket of water, and all it's circulating is that little bit of water. Okay, just to keep it moving, because I had to do some work on the plumbing. I was modifying it. Okay, so I noticed that after cleaning and everything, the Redox was 309, 315. Okay, so we know that that's pretty good Redox. But now as the canister is hooked back up to the entire aquarium again, because I'm done with all the plumbing and everything I modified. The redox, like this morning I woke up, as the canister ages, the redox is going higher. In fact, just this morning when I woke up, the redox was 390. Of course, this doesn't make sense, right? Because you're probably thinking to yourself, wait a second here, wait a second. Your canister, it was clean over 2 months ago. And you're trying to tell me that a dirty, filthy canister has a higher redox than a brand new canister that's freshly been packed and new? Well, apparently, that's exactly what I'm telling you. As we've been told that as canisters or your filter gets dirty, that it's polluting the aquarium and that we should hurry up and change and clean it and get it back online because it's polluting our aquarium. But see, just the opposite is happening. Well, one difference of the canister, of course, is it's using a BCB basket in it. Okay, there's one difference from that canister compared to maybe a canister you're setting up. Okay, so we have to understand that because that BCB basket will last 30 years or more, it doesn't really get cleaned. It may get rinsed off a little bit on the outside, and that's it, that it will keep the redox higher, and it will also make sure that we have the ability of oxidizers in our filter, and it will stay. But as the filter begins to clog, just the opposite I'm seeing happen. As the filter ages, it gets more and more oxidizers. And these oxidizers don't deteriorate the water quality. They actually improve the water quality because you're actually adding more oxidizers to the aquarium to break down the insalts of the aquarium. This is something I think that more experimenting needs to be done. We need to do a lot more research on this, that maybe we shouldn't be cleaning our canister filters as much as we are being told to do. Maybe if we set them up correctly, now I'm going to throw that in there, maybe if we set them up correctly using a BCB or BCB bags and stuff, that we can go a long time between cleaning the canister out compared to what we've been told, that you constantly have to keep things very sterile. We have to, like filter socks, for example. You know, we're told, oh, those should be cleaned once a day, once every other day. You know, we should keep things very, very clean. Well, if you look at a canister filter, it's getting dirty the same way a filter sock is getting dirty, depending on how you set it up. So why is the redox raising and getting higher and higher as something is supposed to be getting dirtier and dirtier? It's a very good question. Why is the redox increasing instead of going down? Because what is happening? Well, we know that oxygen is getting in there, but we also know that it's picking up all the dirt and everything, that the fish waste and everything, and these are being broken down to become safe for the aquarium inhabitants. So this is something that you never see on anybody's channel of why does redox, and from what I'm seeing, why does redox increase as a canister filter gets dirtier and dirtier and not decrease? But in the same term, I'm sure there's people out there who said, yeah, but when my canister filter gets dirty, I can tell it's getting dirty and the plants don't look as good, or I'm starting to get algae or something like this, and I can tell it's time to clean the canister. Remember what I said though previously. This canister is using a BCB basket. It's using an other means in the canister than just setting up the canister with like noodles or some other kind of matrix that's in there. We're using something that has been time tested over 30 years that we know that works. Once it's broken in and aged, we know it will definitely work and create a lot of oxidizers by taking in the insalts that are in there. And we know that there's a positive and negative ion charges in the aquarium and your plenum and things like this. We know what a BCB does, how it attracts ions in it. And this is something we don't understand unless you're on my channel, and I've been trying to teach you this, that these BCBs attract these ions. So that's just naturally what they do for the facultative bacteria that is living inside of them, that is cleaning up our systems. So I thought I would bring that up. That's a little interesting, that as the canister filter ages, it actually has more oxidizers in it than when it was brand new, because now everything in there is beginning to grow bacteria. Of course, we know that, and that would make more sense. But what doesn't make sense, from what we've been told, is that, well, what about all the dirt and the fish waste and everything that's accumulating in there? And even plant matter, like a plant leaf that was sucked up in there, and it's being oxidized. So it really is going against the grain of what you've been shown or told compared to what actually I'm seeing. And with the equipment that I'm using, and anyone can buy the equipment. Anyone can go out, buy a redox meter, and you can buy a pH probe redox meter and connect it up to your aquarium and see this information. Most freshwater hobbyists are not going to do that because it's a piece of equipment they feel it's not needed. It's mainly for the person who just wants to know and make the hobby interesting for them. But I thought that would be interesting to you to tell you that as the canister filter is getting dirty and aging, that the redox of the aquarium now has went up. And before, it used to be after the cleaning, I see the redox was about 309, 325. Connecting it up back to the aquarium was like 325. Okay. So we know that the aquarium is oxidizing things also. So it did raise the redox of the canister filter up. But now 390. So we know what is happening. We know exactly that the filter is getting dirty, but the filter is growing more and more oxidizers in it. So maybe in the process of thinking we are doing something good, we may be harming our aquariums with the way we've been setting up our filters to benefit our aquariums. It's just some food for thought. I think that everybody should know. But as the title says, where's the algae? The same thing's going on in the goldfish aquarium. It's an aquarium that has big fat goldfish in it. It's really overcrowded for the size tank it is for the goldfish. They get fed, and I don't skip on the feeding. I don't feed them every other day. I don't feed them every third day. I don't skimp on any other feeding. The fish get fed twice a day, the same as the 90-gallon, the same as the 20-gallon. They're animals. We took responsibility for them. You notice the fish aren't little bitty tiny things that you almost need a microscope to see them. They're nice big size fish. Everything is doing well, and the fish are healthy, and that's what we want, the animal life. A lot of people may be looking at these pictures of Mark's aquarium, and the first thing they're going to say, well, it's the plants. Well, right away, it's all. I always get somebody saying, oh, it's the plants. Well, in a way, we have to give credit where credit is due. We know it's not the plants. We know that the plants are part of the system, but they're not the main reason the system is working the way it is for Mark. We know that for a fact. If he removed the plants, the system would still be working perfectly fine. The plenum, the BCBs and everything would be taken over. Just like I showed you in the 20 gallon, even with the bare bottom, only using a canister filter, not using like any sponge filters or anything with it. Still, everything is fine. So we know for a fact that doing things correctly will definitely help save our animals' lives, bring oxygen into the substrate, raise our redox potential of the aquarium, and help benefit with nitrates and phosphates. Plants grow perfectly fine, even though my aquarium is very, very low in nitrates and phosphates to almost non-existent. The plants are growing just fine without the algae. And as I've explained to you before, because the water is moving into it, the waste that does collect on, let's say, the top of the substrate, that is becoming a food source for the root systems in the substrate. So you're constantly feeding the roots from the fish waste, uneaten food, dead and dying plant leaves. That is all feeding the plants that you're putting into your aquarium. And because you're moving fluids through the substrate very, very slowly with oxygen at even very low levels, which is what plants like my plants, they're thriving. I cannot tell you how fast the Italian Val is doing. It is unbelievable that it is just sending one runner after another runner after another runner in the aquarium. It's going bonkers. I started out with, I think I bought 4, and I must have at least 15, 20 plants already. Just keep sending runner after runner after runner into the substrate. So they must be getting their nourishment from something. And I don't add any nitrates or phosphates. Well, if it's in the food, it's in the food. Okay, I'll admit that. If it's in the food, I keep them as low as possible because I don't want algae problems. And here the plants are just going gangbusters. And even as the aquarium is aging, the plants are actually growing better as it's aging because I think there's more of a food source getting down to the root system. So that food source is being used up by the plant roots that are available in there. And already you can see plant roots growing on the sides and front of the aquarium. Just tons of root are growing. That's what we want for those people who are growing plants. But anyhow, I thought I would make this video show you Mark's aquarium. I also want to make a thing that I ran into a problem. Some people send me pictures of their aquarium, and I don't mind showing your pictures, but some of them are blurry, or some of them I can't even make out what the picture is. It's blurry, or you're giving me a close-up of something, and I can't make out what it is. I can't really put it on my channel because no one's going to be able to think, well, what is this? The corner of what? You know, is it upside down? Is the picture right side up? So if you are going to send me pictures of your aquarium and stuff like that, try to take the clearest possible pictures, like Mark's pictures here, that you possibly can. Make them as clear as possible so I can show people exactly what you did or what you're doing or the success you're having with your aquarium, because they want to know. So I'm just giving that little message out to you. I get a lot of blurry pictures, and I can't put something like that on the channel. People need to see something that's nice and clear so they can get an idea of what they want. And I'm sure that people are going to be setting up aquariums because it is now winter time. They're going to be paying more attention to their aquariums, and they really, really want to see different ideas and different success stories of what people are doing because they want to have the same success. I'm sure everybody like looks at the goldfish aquarium or the 90-gallon aquarium or the 20-gallon aquarium that I have and say, that's what I want. I don't want to be hassling with it. I want something to be successful. The goldfish tank, if you remove the goldfish out of it, basically, and you just warmed it up to 78 degrees, it's basically a tropical fish aquarium. You could do the same thing I did to just make it a tropical fish aquarium. And it would be great for angels or great for just about anything you want. The thing of it is, you don't have to worry about, oh, I have to buy little bitty fish and only put 15 fish in this tank because I'm afraid that I'm going to get all this algae. No, that's why I do these videos. So you can see yourselves that no, you can put fish in it and have fun and have your plants and have something that looks good and not always have to, use CO2 or whatever, like the goldfish aquarium. There's no CO2 in that. Plants are going great. Yeah, they're simple plants, the Harnworth, the wisteria. Yeah, those are simple plants. It has a piece of driftwood in it. But like I said, that can make a beautiful tropical fish aquarium. The only thing is, just add a heater to it. I mean, to heat up the water at 78 degrees. It would make a beautiful tropical fish aquarium, low maintenance. I do have to cut the plant Harnworth because it's growing so fast. I got the lights on 15 hours a day. It would make a great tropical fish aquarium with very little maintenance, and I think that's what we all want. Something that's easy, that looks nice, looks beautiful, and you're not a slave to. So anyhow, that's why I want to make this video, and also let you know, if you want to send me pictures, try to send me the clearest pictures. I'll try to get your pictures on. If you have a little story you want to tell me about your tank, or maybe the problems you had in the past, how you solved them, this is what people want to hear. How other people have solved their problems, because they may have the same problem as you do, and then a light will go on in their head and say, oh, I can do it their way, and try it. And I think that's what we all need to do, is join together and say, hey, let's solve these problems that somebody may have, and let's be successful in this hobby instead of be unsuccessful in the hobby. And constantly then, after a year, looking at our tanks, and they have all kinds of algae in them, and then giving the excuse that, oh, I have neglected it, I did this, I didn't do this. I think I'm going to tear it down and start all over again. I don't really want to tear down my tanks constantly. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of lazy that way. I don't want to tear down my tanks every year. I want them to last for years. I don't want to be tearing them down. I'm the kind of person, of course, I will admit, I put some plants in, I'll see what plants do good, what plants don't do good. Okay, big deal. Once everything settles in, I just let it go. Let nature take its course. And I think a lot of people are like me. If you want to be a fanatic about it and have these beautiful planted aquariums, then that's your choice. If you want to have an aquatic garden, I should say. Otherwise, if you're like me, you're going to put a few plants in, whatever survives and becomes king of the hill, fine. Let nature take its course. But I don't want to be doing a lot of work. I want to be successful. I don't want my fish getting sick. I don't want algae problems, and I want to have a nice tank. So if someone were to look at the tank, they'd say, oh wow, this is beautiful, this is nice, this is what I would like to have. Well, it's obtainable. It's not unobtainable. It's obtainable for everybody. So thank you for watching the video. Until next time, this is Dr. Novak, and happy fish keeping.